Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be focusing on the tourism sector. We're going to be following up on the state of the sector in light of the current circumstances taking place within the region on our eastern borders. And we're also going to be following up on the government's efforts to boost such a vital sector that is a main source of foreign currency. And joining us here in the studio to shed more light on this file is Mr. Ahmed Badr, who is the tourism expert. Mr. Badr, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening to you. Thank you very much for having me. Always a pleasure to be here with you.
Pleasure is ours, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start out our discussion, let's check out this report regarding the government's efforts in the development of the tourism sector, and we'll be right back. Egypt's tourism sector is one of the country's main earners of foreign currency. After a downturn during the COVID-19 pandemic and early days of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the sector has been showing signs of recovery, and the number of tourists visiting Egypt started increasing compared to the corresponding periods in previous years. Egypt has undergone significant developments in the field of tourism, showcasing its rich history, cultural heritage, and natural wonders to the world. Over the past few years, the country has implemented various initiatives to enhance its tourism sector, making it a pivotal component of the national economy. Of course, Egypt's tourism boom is deeply rooted in its unparalleled historical treasures. The pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, and ancient temples along the Nile in Luxor and Aswan have attracted tourists for centuries. Ongoing efforts to preserve and promote these archaeological wonders have not only sustained tourism, but also bolstered Egypt's global image as a cradle of civilization and the mother of the world. The promotion of cultural tourism has been a cornerstone of Egypt's tourism strategy. Museums such as the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, and the Grand Egyptian Museum have been developed to showcase the country's vast collection of artifacts, providing visitors with an immersive experience into Egypt's rich cultural heritage. Conservation efforts to protect historical sites and artifacts have been crucial in maintaining the authenticity of these attractions. Egypt has made substantial investments in infrastructure to support the growing tourism industry. Improved transportation networks, upgraded hotels, and modern amenities have enhanced the overall visitor's experience. Efforts to streamline visa processes and enhance security measures have contributed to a more welcoming environment for international tourists. Egypt has recognized the need to diversify its tourism offerings to attract a broader range of visitors. In addition to historical sites, the country has invested in eco-tourism initiatives, promoting the Mediterranean resorts, Red Sea and Sinai Peninsula for the stunning beaches and vibrant marine life. Adventure tourism, including desert safaris and hot air balloon rides, had also gained popularity, providing tourists with unique and thrilling experiences. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Starting off our discussion with Mr. Badr right away. Sir, now, obviously Egypt has a very vibrant and active tourism sector. It's one of the pillars, one of the main sources of foreign currency as well. A very well-known touristic destination. However, with the conflict that took place in Gaza, it hit hard the tourism sector with a lot of cancellations you've mentioned before. Now, we're in the third month of the conflict, and obviously the winter season is a very high time and a prime time for tourism here in Egypt, especially for the Red Sea resorts. How are we faring during the whole conflict, and how's the tourism sector keeping things afloat and still being active?
Well, before this conflict, until the beginning of October, we were expecting a really high season, really high season, something that we've never we haven't seen before since 2010, even more. We're expecting to have numbers that will exceed even the number that we had in 2010, which is 14 million tourists, until the 7th of October. Then we had this conflict.
Yes.
In the beginning, it wasn't that bad because nobody knew what will happen. Nobody thought, all these, it will fire back that hard. Then, by end of October, it was clear that it's going to be a long conflict. It's hard. Although things are far from the touristic destinations, Cairo or Alexandria or Upper Egypt or the Red Sea, but still how they address the conflict in the world media. It's the Middle East media conflict. It's Gaza. Egypt is, part of it somehow, even in the map. So people, it's dangerous to come here. Some of the insurance companies, they either stopped insuring their trips, or the insurance cost went high. So at the end, travelers are travel to enjoy themselves. They don't want to travel where problems are. They are running away from problems.
Yes.
So definitely they are not going to problem. The main issue for them is, okay, we know it's safe and we will enjoy, but what if things happen? What if things escalated? Will the airports be closed? How am I going to fly back to my home? So these were their concerns. Although we were saying we are not part of this conflict. Actually, we're trying to help. We're trying to make peace again in Palestine. But at the end, people will not risk themselves in a place they think it's not safe. So we had cancellations of, let's say, average, I would say 30 to 40% from all hotels and cruises from all over all the markets, because some markets were affected really bad. Some markets that they didn't get affected that much. So let's say it was about 30 to 40. Actually, nowadays it's we are starting to feel it's becoming even worse, because until December or November, it was a very short notice. So some people, or most of the people, they couldn't cancel because they will lose their money. So they will lose their money and they will lose the trip. So they came. But now we're still a bit away far. So people started to cancel in advance. So from now until the end of the winter high season, end of April, we are seeing much cancellation. Well, thank God we had some other markets that they came and they supported us. Still not that much. They didn't fill this huge gap, but thanks to markets like the Gulf, like North Africa, like Chinese, they are here. Still, of course, they didn't fill the big gap that the others left. And it depends, because some destinations are affected also more than others, so because these markets, mainly they come to Cairo, they go to Upper Egypt. So Sharm el-Sheikh, of course, was affected really bad because it's in Sinai. It's in Sinai, so it's next for them. It's next door to the conflict, so It's affected
Yes.
very bad. Some of the resorts on the Red Sea, like Hurghada and Marsa Alam, they also got affected because their main clientele these days are from Europe, which is a badly affected market. So it's, let's say again, it's we're talking about a percentage of approximately 40% that affected the tourism business, which affected the national income of Egypt because and affected the flow of foreign currency.
Yes.
Which affected the exchange rate.
Yes.
If you remember, until the 1st of October, the exchange rate started to slow down and actually started to go back again, have a dive again. It was, and banks started to open the usage of foreign currency for credit cards and if you're traveling, because the situation looks good, and it was good, and it was very promising. So, and things started to get normal again until this. So the whole economy, of course, got affected. And
well, thank God, Egypt has many different categories and kinds of tourism, be it beach and entertainment tourism, also cultural tourism, religious tourism, medical tourism as well. So it's not like Egypt is only dependent on the beach tourism, especially within the Sinai Peninsula, but also it has many museums all over the country. You can even make use of the western side of Egypt and Siwa oasis and the desert and all of this. So the government has worked tirelessly to intensify or to really enlarge the diversity of the tourism sector and the tourists coming as well to Egypt. So does it make sense, or can now we focus more on the cultural tourism aspect? Because tourists don't have to go to Sinai. They can always go to Siwa. They can always go to the main cities such as Cairo and Alexandria to make use of the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square, the Museum of Civilization, the Grand Egyptian Museum, obviously, and the pyramids. So are there efforts now by the government and travel agencies and companies working on diversifying the resources, Egypt's resources, as tools of attraction for other tourists to encourage them, even if they're too scared to go to Sinai? Now they can be more motivated to go to other places.
Well, as you said, and as we always say, we have it all. Culture, adventure, beaches, everything, food, deserts, almost everything. It just Egypt as a total. We need to focus first on changing the mindset of the people that Egypt is not safe. This is something that is, so many people think about this in so many markets. I know people that they came to Egypt, and that's a true story. A lady came to Egypt, and her family, they didn't want her to come because they thought Egypt is not safe, but she always wanted to come to Egypt, so she said, I will go, it's not a problem. And she wrote her will because she thought that she's not coming back. She came, that was in 2003, and until this date, from this 2003 until 2023, she came 16 times, and she brought all her family. So we need to change that. This is one thing, yes. The other thing, of course, there is something political in this. We have to admit about that. There is something political in this and it's used against us. So we need to find a way to change this. And also we need to work on encouraging the people, not encouraging, using the tourists here in Egypt to do marketing for Egypt, to they be our ambassadors. I always say any tourist in Egypt, he is our ambassador. He will talk about Egypt. He will encourage others to talk about Egypt. There are pages that for tourists, for almost now, you know, social media now, it's just very powerful. So there are pages that people will go to ask things. So they'll ask, is it safe to travel to Egypt? Is it that? So I saw some of these pages. People were very scared, but people from the same nationality, let's say a page in the States or a page in England. So Americans or British people were asking in their pages, is it safe to travel to Egypt? I don't know. And the good thing is they're citizens of the same country, Americans and British and French and Germans, and they were telling them it's safe. We were there last week or last month or something, and it's very safe, and we have enjoyed our time. Go there, don't be afraid, don't listen to media. So this is something we should make use of by many things. By we don't have to tell them, by the way. We don't have to tell them do this or do that. It just we need to give them experience. We need to give them good service. This is from the minute they arrive to Egypt until the minute they leave Egypt. We need to make them happy. If they're happy, they'll talk about us. There is a study in marketing that I saw years ago, many years ago. It was a very interesting study that, in general, they said a happy customer or a satisfied customer will bring 3 to 6 new customers. You know, if you went to a restaurant and you were happy, so you talk to your friends, I've been to this restaurant, it was nice, the food, so you will bring them 3 to 6 new customers. But unsatisfied customer will prevent at least 25 new customers from going to this place, because you will talk bad about them. So we need people to talk good about Egypt by just making their life easy, giving them good service, giving them smile, give them an experience. That's it. It's very easy, by the way.
Well, as you've mentioned, we've actually seen a ministerial and governmental meeting that took place a couple of weeks ago that included the Minister of Civil Aviation, the Prime Minister, and the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, and they were discussing the progress and the development within the airports here in Egypt, and talking specifically about actually having entertainment zones within the airports, starting off with the Sharm el-Sheikh airport. So Egypt is working on really making the experience, as soon as they land, an unforgettable experience. And also there are many facilitations with the visa procedures. So do you feel that all these little changes, all these little developments can actually push and boost the tourism sector in a tough time or a critical time, such as the time we're going through right now?
Well, it will boost tourism at all times. Egypt was supposed to be a transit hub for the world.
Yes.
Unfortunately, other countries and other airlines got this, but we are in the middle of the world, so we were supposed to be that. If you're traveling from the States to anywhere, so why don't you travel with Egypt Air? But unfortunately, I'm not talking about service, because Egypt Air, I've flew some airlines in America and Europe, and I can say, really, Egypt Air is way much better, way much better. But still small things, especially in Egyptian airports, we don't have that big tax-free shops. This is something that people will fly especially to go to these tax-free shops. It's good to have entertainment at the airports, but it's better to have quicker service, immigration service, customs service, even security checks. I'm really sorry, but it's in all other airports, I haven't seen anything like that. 2 times security checks. This will make, and actually, so many tourists are so mad about this, and they talk about this in a very negative way. Even if you bring them, I don't know, Shakira to entertain them, for them, no, this was really bad experience. So again, we don't have to invent the wheel. The wheel is already there. Very simple things. You need to have much more immigration desks. You need to. I don't care about the smile. I don't really. At all the airports in the world, nobody was smiling to me. But it was fast service, so that's this is just what I want.
Yes.
So go there out. You need a taxi. It's easy here. So. These small things we need
facilitations.
Exactly. This is always the problem. We have all the attractions in the world. I don't know. There are cities I really love. Barcelona. I love Barcelona. If you ask me what's in Barcelona, excuse me, but there is nothing compared to Egypt. There's nothing. Still, I love it because there are not the attractions, but the things around the attractions. People now are traveling again for, okay, they want to see the pyramids and they want to see the temples. Okay, this is great. People love to come for this. But then, what? What to do at night?
Yes.
So, okay, I want to go out. Do you have, okay, Cairo maybe. Okay, Cairo, sure, you have things. But if we're talking about cities like Luxor or Aswan, what to do at night? Nothing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly one of the reasons why Egypt has developed a national tourism strategy that actually aims to attract about 30 million tourists annually by 2028. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back. Egypt's national tourism strategy aims to attract 30 million tourists to Egypt by 2028, increasing arrivals by 25 to 30% annually. It continues the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities policy, which started years ago to develop the quality of visitor services at Egypt's archaeological sites and museums, making them more tourist-friendly and more accessible to visitors with disabilities. The strategy targets a threefold increase in seat capacity on flights in collaboration with the Ministry of Civil Aviation. It seeks to enhance tourist experiences at archaeological sites, museums, and other landmarks, create convenient products for independent travelers, improve the investment environment, and encourage room capacity. It also focuses on fast-growing markets that can generate high volumes of tourists and widen the range of activities to increase spending. The improvement of the quality of services at archaeological sites and museums aims to allow for more sustainable tourism, giving visitors the opportunity to fully experience ancient sites and make their visits more enjoyable and at the same time protect the sites from any negative impacts. In the digital age, Egypt has leveraged technology to market its tourist attractions globally. Social media campaigns, virtual tours, and interactive websites have been employed to reach a wider audience. This digital presence not only serves as a promotional tool, but also facilitates information dissemination and engagement with potential tourists. Egypt's tourism sector has evolved significantly, embracing a holistic approach that encompasses historical, cultural, natural attractions, as well as technological infrastructure. The country's commitment to preserving its heritage, diversifying its offerings, and adopting sustainable practices has positioned it as a leading global touristic destination. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our discussion with Mr. Badr now. Mr. Badr, last December, the Ministry of Transport actually held a conference with investors and individuals who are interested to boost the yacht tourism and the marina establishments. Now, Egypt is blessed with 2 seas and the River Nile, the Nile River. So how can we really maximize on the yacht tourism, which would always bring about tourists from the Mediterranean, from all over Southern Europe, and maybe even further? So how can we introduce, or not introduce, but really have a facelift for the yacht tourism, for instance?
That was a good move, because yacht tourism, it's you're talking about the millionaires and billionaires of the world. A while ago I saw statistics that are almost, they're talking about like 500,000 yachts in the eastern of the Mediterranean, not the whole Mediterranean, just eastern,
Yes.
yeah, which is in our territory. So we're talking about 500,000 going around. These are the people who are willing to spend money to enjoy themselves. So attracting them, it was until recently, well, short time ago, it was hard for them to come. You know, so many regulations, you have to go this and through that, and now it's becoming easier. So that's the first step to attract them. Then we need to tell them that we have the services and we have the marinas, and we have the hotels, and we have, again, we are talking to a total different clientele.
Yes.
People who are willing to have the finest accommodation, the finest food, the finest of everything. So we have this. Alexandria, we have really, really nice hotels, really nice restaurants, good attractions. Just 2.5 or 3 hours, you will be in Cairo. Again, you have really nice 5-star deluxe hotels and restaurants and attractions and shopping, and even if you want, Mr. Yacht owner, you can have your tours privately. You can go to the pyramids or the museum privately. It can be done. So these things can attract them. So instead of going to other countries, okay, so why not let's go to Egypt? So, but the best step was, again,
Yes.
making their arrival formalities easier. This is for yachts and for everything, for all other clientele types. So one of the good things also was the launching of the Egyptian electronic visa website. So again, that was good. Although we have some of the nationalities, they can come and have the visas here upon arrival. But also it's good to have the e-visa portal. So this is always a good thing to make the formalities easy for all the tourists or for all the guests of Egypt.
Yes. Mr. Badr, one final question, because we're running out of time now. Only yesterday, the United Nations Development Programme, I mean, they inaugurated about 5 solar plants, talking about renewable energy, in 5 Egyptian World Heritage sites. Now, is this an attraction? I mean, how much would you feel this would be attractive to the tourists, and also would enable the Egyptian touristic destinations, these sites, to actually provide a better service, a cheaper service for them? It would be less expensive, so maybe they would alleviate the level of and the quality of services they provide to tourists.
Well, from all aspects, that's great, because people now are really keen about the environment and the keeping of the environment. They don't really care about having cheaper services, but if we tell them that this site and this site and this hotel or this resort or this road being lit by solar energy, it will make good impact for them. Actually, I've been with some of the clients that they were talking about Bimban solar project, solar energy project in Aswan, which is, I think, one of the biggest in the world. And I was with somebody who's engineer, American engineer, who's specialized in this kind of energy and solar plants, and he was really amazed while he was talking to me that we finished this project in, I think, 2 or 3 years, while they are working on a project that is half the size of Bimban, and they've been almost 7 or 8 years, and they just finished 50% of it. So it's these things can attract some clientele, or we can use it to have, like, okay, the energy in Egypt, now we are 5% or 10% or 20% of the energy in Egypt are being generated from natural sources. This is now...
This is an attraction in itself.
Exactly, yes. And the wind farm in Hurghada, it's amazing. I was driving by it a few years ago, and I was amazed by the size of it. So, yes, these things we can use.
Well, definitely, ladies and gentlemen, Egypt is rich, not just in culture and artifacts and museums, but also its resources and its way to innovate and diversify the attractions for all international tourists. Egypt, the tourism sector has been hard hit since 2011 by the revolution, a pandemic, combating terrorism in Sinai, and obviously what's taking place now. But each and every time Egypt does rise up to the challenge and overcomes these obstacles, and hopefully this is also going to happen again. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my distinguished guest, Mr. Ahmed Badr, the tourism expert. Mr. Badr, always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Always
much,
my pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.